fearless as the day you sailed with the Skull Rock podcast. Proceed at your own risk and mark well me words, ladies. Dead men tell no tale.
Whether you're a lifelong Disney fan, theme park junkie, or someone who just loves great storytelling, you found your new favorite show. Welcome to Skull Rock Podcast. I'm Aljon, musician and longtime Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars pop culturist.
Oh, is that the cue for me?
I've
been gone. I've been gone for several weeks here. I got to get back into the groove. I'm Dave Bossert, artist, filmmaker, author, and somebody who's been traveling for the last 3 weeks, and it feels good to be back with my old pal Aljon. Welcome to the Skull Rock Podcast, Aljon.
Yes.
What has been happening? You had Kat come in and fill for me, right?
Yes.
For 3 weeks. I mean, I've been gone for 3 weeks. I'm surprised that you didn't even, that you forgot about me at this point. You know.
Forget about you. You're unforgettable, Dave. The song says. But, we had a good time, Dave, holding it down. But now that you're back, Kat sends her regards, and now we're here to talk about movies. I understand you were being an international man of mystery once again.
We really just had a fantastic time. I mean, it was almost 2.5 weeks over in France. We were in Paris. We were in Provence in the south of France. I got to tell you, my daughter and son-in-law live outside of Paris. So we spent a lot of time visiting with them initially for the first 4 days when we got there. But then, Nancy and I took the whole family on a Viking River Cruise. So we took a high-speed train from Paris down to Lyon, and we boarded a Viking River Cruise ship. And I didn't know what to expect, quite frankly, Aljon, because I had never done a river cruise before. And I've done dozens of Disney cruises over the years, especially when I was working for the company, because I was either going on the cruise ships as a guest speaker, or I was going on board the ship to install a live show or some projection, thing or whatever we were doing on board the ship. So, but I had never done a river cruise. So again, I had no reference point for it. We had a fantastic time, I have to tell you, and I'm really going to just give a plug to Viking Cruises because they really know how to do it. The ship holds about 195 people. I never felt like it was crowded, and I gotta say the service was impeccable. The food was really off the charts. I just thought it was fantastic. There was plenty of choices. It was table service, wines, regional specialties, all of that kind of stuff. And, the ship itself was about 10 years old, and it was beautiful.
Impeccable.
Yeah. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. And, having worked at Disney for, 32 plus years, it's all about quality, right? Disney knows how to do quality, and I give kudos to Viking because they really know how to do quality. It was a wonderful experience. I will say, though, that we were the youngest people on the ship.
That's right. That's right.
So people were looking at us because, my daughter Marley, who is actually 27 years old, she looks like she could be 16.
Yes.
So, and I think at one point, the cruise director, who was making some announcements and whatnot in the lounge, one evening actually made a reference, didn't call her out, but made a reference to saying, we keep our promise. It's 18 and older on board the ship, because clearly, I think somebody must have said something like, that girl, she's not 18,
No, it's those Bossert jeans, she's got the Bossert jeans, the fountain of youth.
I think so. So anyway, but look, we really had a fantastic time. They had
Right.
lectures on board the ship. In
Yeah.
fact, when we were in Lyon, one of the more fascinating lectures was they had a French historian come on board who gave a whole presentation on the French resistance in the Lyon region
Love it.
during World War II. And it
Oh
was
yeah.
absolutely fascinating, photographs and all the information he was giving. It really puts you in, gives you this experience that puts you in the city, you know what I mean?
I
And
love that. That is
yeah,
so good.
so
Absolutely. And of course that kind of ties hand in hand with your new book that's coming out. You dropped before
uh,
you left, you dropped us
yeah, yeah,
that
my
knowledge
my
there.
new World War II book, which is hopefully going to the press in the next, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks.
Amazing.
Uh, but I gotta say, it was just a fantastic experience. If you've never taken have you been on a high speed train?
I have.
Yeah, over in Asia, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you know how smooth those trains are.
It's like gliding on air.
I mean,
It's yeah.
we were doing that. Somebody said we were doing 176 miles an hour from
Yeah.
Paris to Lyon,
Yeah.
and it was just smooth. It was
Yeah.
so amazing.
It's great.
We just really had a wonderful time. And then, the river cruise went down the Rhone River in Provence. So we went from Lyon down to Avignon, and Avignon is an incredibly beautiful city. It's an old walled city. Literally, to get into the city, you're going through a doorway in a wall.
I love it. I
A
love it.
massive fortress wall, and it has a papal palace where the Pope apparently lived for some time because of whatever was going on in Italy,
Mhm.
uh, you know, centuries ago. And, it was just absolutely spectacular. I did post some pictures on my Facebook page, Aljon. I know you saw them, but
Yes.
we were in one area of Provence where we got off the ship and we took a bus to a small train station, and we got on board an old steam train. The engine was built in 1904. The wooden passenger cars were built in 1911,
Wow.
and it took us up through this really rugged canyon. I mean, at one point, the train is running along the wall of running along a track on the wall of a canyon. You're looking out the carriage, and it's like 150-foot drop next to you.
Wow. Oh,
You know,
man.
so
Oh, ooh.
but it was fantastic. We really enjoyed ourselves. I mean, I commented about the train. It was like riding the old, the Disneyland train around
Yeah.
Disneyland, except you're in the south of France. It was that kind of a train.
That's
So
awesome.
it was really fantastic. All coal fired and everything, but it was overall a very, very good time. I recommend it to anybody. We're going to do another one at some point.
Well, good.
And we're probably going to talk to Kristen about that and have Kristen book it
100%.
for us. Yeah.
100%. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much fun, and I'm glad you had fun, and that's what it's all about. I think those Viking cruises are great. We did one too when we ended up doing the Rhine River cruise,
Oh, okay.
Dave,
That's
and
the
that
one we
was
want to do next. Yeah.
yeah, it's absolutely stunning, perfect. It's you get to check out a lot of the different cities
Yeah.
that are there, as well as some of the old cathedrals and such, which were really really great. But I love the kind of the adventure of discovery. You're going there, you're looking at all the really quaint towns and taking all the food and the people, and that's really so much fun. And I know that's right up your alley, so you're going to love it. Of course, we'll have a link if you want to take your next river cruise. You can hit up Kristen for that for sure.
Yeah, no,
But
I again, I highly recommend this to people. But look, if you're a youngster like me, I would just say be prepared that there's going to be some really older people on board the ship. I mean,
yeah,
but it's not that big of a deal because I could walk faster than they could. you know.
Okay. When it's dinner time, Dave's right there. He's
Yeah,
right
there you
there.
go.
But I mean, the service is really good. I can attest to that, and the fact that you may be on the younger side of the demo that goes on these type of things, it doesn't take away from the fun. And so yes, I'm with you. Kristen and I and a newlywed couple went with us on this river cruise that we went to in the Rhine, and we were the youngest people there.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is for sure.
You know,
Well, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to add this one other thing, is that because there was 5 of us, every night when we went into the dining room, we took a 6 top table. So really nobody
Yeah.
sat with us. So
Ah,
we didn't really get a chance to meet other people. We met a few people and chatted with some people. There were folks from California. There was folks from the East Coast of the United States. There was also some Brits and Australians and whatnot. So it was a nice mix of people.
it's
But
quiet. It's quiet.
but when you have a group like that, you obviously want to sit together at your meals.
Hmm.
So it kind of precludes actually meeting a lot of people. So I think the next one that Nancy and I go on, we're just going to go on the 2 of us, and I'm sure we'll probably wind up meeting other people. You
There you
know,
go.
I
There
just
you
hope
go.
I don't have to do CPR on any of them.
Oh god, there's a defibrillator under the table, Dave. Every table's got a defibrillator. You get a
Really.
defibrillator. You get a defibrillator.
Exactly. Exactly. But
Well, that's
yeah.
awesome. Well,
So
good.
anyway, a lot's gone on in the last 3 weeks. That's for sure.
Well, that is true. I mean, we left in the spring. Now the school's out. It is Memorial Day weekend, so it's a time for reflection. It's time that we think about those that have given the ultimate sacrifice, Dave. And once again, I hope everyone has a safe Memorial Day weekend as you
Yeah,
listen to this on Monday. But
absolutely.
one thing we will mention now, though, is we have been plugging away at the From the Land Beyond, which is the new screening of the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad that's being hosted by our friends. And I love the fact that Arnie Leibovit, a friend of the show, we talked about this briefly over the past 3 weeks, and it's great that he's restoring this Ray Harryhausen Voyage of Sinbad uh, on the big screen. People are going to be able to experience it as they did when it showed, actually better than it did from 1958 on the Technicolor screen. Dave, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and aside from George Powell's Puppetoons, I'd say Ray Harryhausen is one of the early titans of stop motion animation. And when we've had stop motion artists on board, on our show, we've talked about the influence Ray Harryhausen has had on a lot of the stop motion animators of today. In fact, even in my Nightmare Before Christmas book, I interviewed a lot of the animators that worked on that movie, and they all pointed back to, Art Clokey and George Powell and Ray Harryhausen. So being able to see a restored version of the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad on a big screen is a real treat. And Arnie is going to be hosting a screening of it at the Frida Cinema in Santa Ana, California. So all of our friends in Southern California, take note of this. It's on Saturday, July 25th. That's right, Saturday, July 25th at the Frida Cinema, which is at 305 East 4th Street in Santa Ana. And you're going to basically be showing a restored version of the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. There's a rare video appearance with Richard Eyre, the genie of the lamp. 2 more restored George Powell Academy Award winning Puppetoons, and the entire thing is hosted by Arnie Leibovit, who was a friend of Ray Harryhausen. So check that out. Aljon, you're going to put all those links into our show notes so people can get tickets. You can buy
Absolutely.
tickets online. And I got to tell you, folks, and we say this all the time when there's these special screenings. I can't tell you how many times I've seen the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad on television.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've never seen it on a big screen before. And I wish I was going to be in Los Angeles during this screening because I would go down and see this. just like I've gone to other screenings that Arnie has organized. So kudos to Arnie for doing this. And this is one of those rare opportunities to see a great film up on a big screen.
100%, man. It is awesome. And once again, links will be in the show notes.
And by the way,
Oh, yes.
for our friends on YouTube, when you see me turning and looking, I'm working off of 2 computers at the moment because I'm in the process of transferring all the data from this computer to this new mini iMac that I have. And it's been an arduous job. And some people will say, well, Dave, you can automatically transfer everything from one computer to the next. Yes, I know, if your computer is of the age it needs to be for that kind of a transfer. My iMac is better than 10 years old, and that functionality is not working. So I've been dragging everything onto a hard drive and then moving everything over that I need to have on my desktop because I'm in the midst of this World War II book and I've got everything organized. So anyway, next week I will be fully back onto my new iMac computer. But that's why I'm sitting here doing this, because I'm working on, I've got 2 keyboards in front of me, 2 mouses, and all of this
That's
stuff.
hilarious.
I know,
Well,
it's craziness.
Well, once you do it, and I'm sure you're going to have a big old cloud backup there for Apple. You're going to be that way. You don't have to worry about this stuff anymore because I do cloud computing now, and it's awesome because I don't have to worry about anything. And I still have my zip drive. I'm aging myself too. I've got a hard drive that I back everything else up, but
Aljon, I must have 40 terabytes or more of hard drives and data stored of all kinds of stuff, films and, historical material that I've been researching for decades. I mean, I've got so much data, it's insanity. And I'm so paranoid about losing something. So I'm doing things, in my own comfort zone. I'll put it to you that way.
Hey,
so if you're a tech head out there and you say, Dave, you should be doing X, Y, Z, don't tell me that. I don't want to know it because I'm in my comfort zone. Okay.
I used to watch tech TV, a long time ago, and they always said, make sure you have 3 backups. You've got your computer memory, you've got your external hard drive, and then you have your cloud memory.
Yes.
And was it Leo Laporte? I love Leo Laporte and Tech TV, and I used to listen to his podcast all the time back in the web 1.0 days.
Yes.
And I still do that to this day. So there you go. Okay, enough about tech. Once again, I think it is time. We do have some comments, so let's get into it, shall we?
Skull Rock Podcast answers your email.
Yeah, awesome comments. This is from YouTube, and Skull Rock is on it. We've got some shorts as well as long form content, our podcast, and of course, Mark Hausler, going way back to Mark Hausler from a year ago.
Yeah.
Great to hear Mark share his knowledge. Thank you. This is Mark Hausler, My Road to Disney Part 1. And it's great that people are discovering the vault, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool. Also, a comment because we had this little clip kind of go viral, us talking about William Shatner. And William Shatner is just prolific these days. He's everywhere, books and Blue Origin. He's going everywhere. He's in space. He's starring in movies and documentaries. But now, of course, Big Worm 3030 says, bro, he looks good for being nearly 100.
He does.
He does look really good.
And by the way, Aljon, he's looking good because he's always working. This is something to be said about staying engaged and continuously working. And look, it doesn't mean you have to work yourself ragged every single day, but you're always involved with stuff and you're engaged with people. I've got new books stacked out until 2032. Aljon, 2032.
Yes. Wow.
And so every day I wake up, I come in my office, I'm upbeat, I'm positive, I sit down, I'm working on projects.
Yeah, that's the roadmap. I mean, it really is. You have to keep engaged. And, I think that's the one thing that kept Stan Lee going for as long as he had with all of the things going on in
Yeah,
his life and his career. He lived to be about nearly 100 years old.
yeah,
And he was doing Comic Cons and he was engaged with people. He was doing cameos in the Marvel movies. He did everything.
that's right.
And I think that's a secret. I mean, and your mom, did the same thing for many decades. I mean, she was out there living her best life.
Yeah,
So that
she
is
was always
awesome.
she always had stuff on the calendar. She was always looking forward to things down the, months out, a year out, whatever it was, whether it
Yeah.
was a cruise or whether she was going to go on a trip someplace or whatever, So, I would just tell people, look at what you're doing. And, and by the way, if you're not happy, then stop doing what you're doing and start doing something that makes you happy, you know?
There you go. Well,
Because that's a
yeah,
big part of it too. But look at this,
absolutely.
Aljon, no wrinkles on my forehead. None
Right.
whatsoever. See that?
Right.
There's no wrinkles up there,
Love that.
low
I love it.
stress, you got to enjoy yourself, and that's the key to it. Stay engaged.
I think that is the secret, Dave. I mean, you and I both are engaged in fields that we absolutely love, and we keep on doing stuff that we love. And my son is crying in the background. He says, "Give me my lightsaber, Daddy."
I've got one more. I've got one more message that I got emailed to me.
Okay.
And this is a little bit late. This is from earlier in May. It was after I had left on my trip, but it says, "Good morning, Dave and Aljon. I'm writing you from the Azores. We just arrived here after 4 sea days crossing the Atlantic Ocean on the Celebrity Apex, and you kept me company. I continue to enjoy your current episodes and catching up on past ones." So here's somebody who went on a cruise ship and took some of our Skull Rock podcast episodes with them to listen to.
Well, good for them. I'm glad they didn't decide to to get off a cliff there in the Azores.
And,
But
and,
I love the Azores. Great
yeah,
place right there. Yeah.
and he went on to say, "Have you watched My Life is Murder? It's either on Acorn or BritBox. It takes place in Australia and New Zealand and stars Lucy Lawless. Remember Xena Warrior Princess? Great series. Got to get off the ship to tour the island now, so have a great week." And that was from Paul, who's in Claremont, but currently, or back then, was in the Azores. So, Paul, thank you very much for
Love it.
that. And just so you know, I did watch much of My Life as Murder with Lucy Lawless. It's a New Zealand series, and I believe it is actually on Acorn. And it's a fun series. It's a procedural mystery series. Every episode, they're solving a new murder, and I've talked about it in the past on this show. So if you're a newer listener, check it out because I think you'll probably enjoy it. It's a bit of a fun show.
I love
So
it.
that was it. There was another note, a lengthy one from Paul from Parts Unknown, who was listening to the last few podcasts and don't know if you've noticed, but is Aljon using an AI tool to clean up the audio, because there's a lot of quiet pauses in the audio in the latest podcast or two. So he's mentioning we've had that issue, I think, sometimes with cinching stuff up through AI where it's clipping a little bit.
Yeah, I tend to try to make it sound as human as possible, and there is quiet because I reduce the noise. Something, and sometimes when you do these Zoom calls or these video calls, there tends to be a little bit of a noise floor that happens. So,
Yeah.
you reduce the noise floor to make it okay. The next thing you do is you try to remove some of the words like the uhs and ums and things like that to try to make it flow. And what I've done to make it sound more natural is I try not to cinch it up that much anymore, Dave.
Okay.
I try to take the ums out, and there are going to be some pauses because that's just the nature of the way people speak, but I do try to take those things out. So as you hear some pauses, that is just the natural flow of things. And so when Dave, especially when Dave does his interviews, with guests and things like that, so it does sound maybe like you're cutting things off. I mean, you do your best to try to make sure that things are cleaned up, and they try to remove the kids screaming in the background all the time. That's just what happens. But thank you for pointing that out. I mean, that's kind of how the sausage is made. And now but I try to make it sound as natural as possible. And yes, and there are some times where there have been some podcasts, and I think you'll notice if you go back about a month ago when we came back from animation, y'all, there is some choppiness there, and the choppiness is due to the fact that there was a bunch of noise. There's a bunch of noise when we're recording in those things. So I think you have to try to strike a really comfortable median between all of the stuff that you're doing when you're making a podcast, and just trying to make it sound like you give a damn, and you put out quality stuff. And then you have to make sure that the intention is there, which is the conversational style, especially when Dave conducts the interview, to make it as conversational as possible without making it seem like it's too zipped up, right? So you kind of straddle that line. So
Absolutely. So, and let me translate this for our guests. Aljon, you're the professional. You were in radio. You're the guy that's trying to make us appear as professional as possible. But it's hard to do when your partner is a knucklehead like me. Okay.
No. Hey, Dave, you've really become, the I was going to say the Barbara Walters, of the Disney podcast community, because you tend to bring out the best of people. You listen, and I think it's a joy, and we've said this before, because today Dave and I are catching up, so you get to hear everything. And maybe one of these days we'll live stream on our YouTube so you can interact with us, because we have the ability to do that now, to stream live on multiple platforms. But I think, people tune in. They like the interactions between us. They love the guest interviews, of course. And we just want to try to keep it real and authentic, and not overproduced. I do come from a radio background. I was in commercial radio for 16 years, in the mid 90s and the 2000s. And I had fun. I was rock radio, classic rock, and top 40. So that's what I did. And I did all the interstitials, we call the bumpers.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of the design packages and radio jingles. And I was, that's what I love to do. And I brought that to Sorcerer Radio. And now you're doing Sirius XM, you're doing your radio thing. And I still occasionally will do, voiceovers and podcast stuff, of course. But we just try to make it as authentic as possible. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not interviewing rock stars.
But we're here to have fun. And we're here to, have great guests on the show, and to impart some information about things we're watching, what's going on in pop culture, and generally have some fun here. But I would say I'd love to hear from some of our listeners as to whether they'd like us to do a live stream at some point, or maybe do it quarterly or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we have the ability to do it, for sure. And I once again, I appreciate all the feedback. I think, we have a bunch of podcasters that listen to this show as well. And so, yeah, we appreciate it. And, we just try to keep things going, kind of keep the flow going. So, but thank you for that feedback. We do appreciate it. And hopefully there's not too many glitches on your end. AI tools are getting better every single day to help the workflow. So I do appreciate that. Well, gang, once again, if you have any email suggestions, comments, or, whatever it is, feel free to send us those emails. And I will tell you this, skullrockpodcast.com. Dave, we're undergoing a little bit of a transformation here. So we're going to switch servers. So right now, check out our links to our Spotify page, as we're going to get rerouted, and all that stuff is going to be happening there at the Spotify site. And the website will be working here in the next day or so. So
oh, joy
emails
of
will come back.
joys. Oh,
I know. I
joy
get
of
to transfer
joys.
everything.
Transferring servers.
Transferring servers. Yes, it's
Yeah.
that time of year. We've been doing it. We've been doing this show now for what, 5 years, Dave? So it's time to migrate to a new server. So we're doing it.
There we go.
All right, gang. Oh, and let's say, it is time now for our favorite section.
Pam, she wrote this great review of my poetry book.
That's my pick.
I read a great review.
Your girlfriend got a great review.
Oh, that's my pick, too. Sorry.
Excuse me while I start the projector.
Skull Rock Podcast, Picks of the Week.
All right, Dave, there's our projector sound. It's time, Dave. What have you been watching? And I think you've been watching a lot.
Yeah, I really have been. I was actually kind of surprised because, well, here's the thing. When you're traveling, you'd think, oh, I'm not going to be watching too much. But in today's world, we when we're in hotel rooms, we can cast onto the hotel television and watch some of the streaming services we subscribe to. So, at the end of a long day, there's nothing like sitting in bed and maybe watching a half hour or an hour program before you pass out. And then, believe it or not, since I got home this past week, I did have a chance to go and see The Mandalorian and Grogu, which opened Memorial Day weekend.
There you go.
Now, Aljon, you and I have talked over the years about the fact that you are a hardcore Star Wars fan, and you're going to pick up on all the Easter eggs more so than I am. And there are Easter eggs in there because I actually did pick up on at least one or two. But the fact of the matter is, I just enjoy going to see good movies, right? And I enjoyed the Mandalorian TV series, and so I was looking forward to this movie, and I liked it. I think this is a great summer movie. The action scenes are terrific. And, the special effects are done by Industrial Light and Magic, which was a Lucasfilm company, which is now all owned by Disney. All of that stuff adds up to a movie you want to see on a big screen. And I give this 2 thumbs up personally. Although I will say, there's a little bit of a slowness in the middle of the movie that I think could have been cinched up some, but that's, again, you get into personal preferences. The synopsis of this is the evil empire has fallen, but imperial warlords remain scattered throughout the galaxy as the fledgling New Republic works to protect everything the rebellion fought for. They enlist the help of legendary Mandalorian bounty hunter Din Djarin. Darjan. How do I pronounce that? Din
Djarin.
Din Djarin and his young apprentice, Grogu. So, again, I'm going to tell you that this is really a fun movie. You've got Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian, and Sigourney Weaver's in this. Martin Scorsese does the voice of a really hilarious creature. And Jeremy Allen White is the voice of Rhoda the Hutt, the son of Jabba the Hutt.
He's all swole up, Dave.
Yeah.
He's muscular.
I know. It's amazing. But I have to tell you, go see this movie on a big screen because it deserves to be seen on a big screen. Rotten Tomatoes only gives a 62%. I don't agree with that. IMDb is 7 out of 10. But 85% of people who went to see this movie liked it. So
there you go.
There's my brief, and I say brief because I've got so much to go through. So brief review here of The Mandalorian and Grogu in theaters right now, open this weekend. I think it's going to do very well.
Yep, we're gonna see it tonight. So can't wait to take the family to see it.
Aljon, the problem with me traveling so much or going to the movies as much as I do is that when I do travel, most of the movies that are on the plane, I've already seen.
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
So I either have to rewatch something if I want to see something, or I stare out the window, or I read a book. But going over to Paris 3 weeks ago, I did watch a documentary on Brigitte Bardot. It's called Bardot. It's about Brigitte Bardot gave up fame in 1973, fleeing heartbreak, paparazzi, and exploitation to fight for animals and the planet. In a rare final appearance, she opens her world and her home at Saint-Tropez to talk about her work and legacy. This is a movie that was released in 2025. I'm not sure if it was before or after she had passed away, because she passed away in the last year or two. An excellent documentary. She transformed cinema for women, and you can almost say she was ahead of the sexual revolution. And I thought it was a fascinating look at a cinema icon, and I would highly recommend this. It gets 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb. I think it's worth watching if you're into this, into cinema and movie going like we are. It's really a fantastic documentary. A lot of interviews and a lot of archival footage all strung together. Beautifully done. It kept me captivated. So check that out. And I think you can, I don't know where you can find it. I'm sure you can find it on Prime. You can find everything on Prime.
There you go. It's on the screen right now. You can check it out. I put the trailer up there for everybody.
Great.
There you go.
So the next documentary I watched on that flight was The Alpinist. Marc-Andre Leclerc climbs alone, far from the limelight, on remote alpine faces. The free-spirited 23-year-old Canadian makes some of the boldest solo ascents in history, yet he draws scant attention. With no cameras, no rope, and no margin for error, Leclerc's approach to the essence of solo adventure. It's really, his approach is the essence of solo adventure. This was an absolutely hair-raising documentary, The Alpinist. This guy wasn't in it to get fame and fortune or get the limelight like some of the other climbers that do solo stuff. And, the guy that climbed Taipei 101, remember that? That was a big HBO special or something. This guy was just absolutely amazing. I mean, he just free solos some insane peaks in various parts of the world. It's again, hair-raising to watch. Well done documentary, very sad ending to it. So I'll leave it at that. You can watch this on Apple TV, on Prime, on YouTube. It's I think Fandango, you can watch it as well, Google Play.
Yes.
A lot of those are rentals. But look, if you're into the outdoors, hiking and climbing, this is the documentary you want to watch. Okay.
Yes.
Now, while I was on board the cruise ship, there was a TV in our stateroom, and I did watch Saving Notre Dame. In April 2019, a massive fire ripped through the Notre Dame de Paris, leaving it on the verge of collapse. Long before the last ember was extinguished, the French vowed to rebuild their beloved cathedral that has been the heart of French culture for nearly 900 years. The task at hand is enormous, and those challenged with restoration have no idea what they're facing. In this special presentation with exclusive access, we go into the rubble with the heroes who risked their lives to stabilize what's left of Notre Dame, so that so she can be restored to her former glory. So this was a documentary that was shot literally while they were putting the fire out.
Yeah. Wow.
And the things that had to be done just to stabilize the cathedral so that it didn't collapse in on itself.
Look at that photo, Dave.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, it's just unbelievable, Aljon. And, all of that scaffolding was up when the fire broke out. So that scaffolding was like twisted and melted and was unstable. And they had all of these guys that had to go up with ropes and stabilize the scaffolding so it could be dismantled, you
Yeah.
know, without damaging the cathedral further. It was really a gripping documentary. I really enjoyed it. You can check that out on Nat Geo if you have Disney Plus,
Wow.
the bundle. Now, I did also watch a documentary, What Happened at Chernobyl 40 years on. And
Oh,
so, this year, 2026, marks the 40th anniversary of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. And so this was an incredibly fascinating documentary on that disaster. 40 years later, a BBC journalist travels to Chernobyl, actually goes into the zone of death, as I call it, because it's the area around Chernobyl and the Chernobyl reactor itself that's now encased in concrete, but will be radioactive for the next 10,000 years.
wow.
But he goes in, they interview survivors, they talk about what went wrong and all of that. It's really, with the renewed interest in nuclear energy and building new reactors and the restart of 3 Mile Island and, all the lessons learned over the decades about nuclear energy. This is a fascinating documentary to watch, so I highly recommend it. You can check it out on YouTube through the BBC. Now,
Nice.
that was all the documentaries I watched. I did watch Big Mistakes, the first season, Dan Levy's new series, and it's very funny. It's about blackmailed into working for gangsters. Two deeply incompatible siblings become the most disorganized duo in organized crime. It's created by Dan Levy and Rachel Sennott, and it stars Taylor Ortega, who's fantastic as Morgan, and Dan Levy as Nikki and their siblings. There's also Laurie Metcalf is in it, Elizabeth Perkins. There's a real twist at the end of this. I highly recommend it. Check it out on Netflix. It gets 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb, 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, 77% of people who watched it like this TV show. I thought it was hilarious. So check that out on Netflix. Also on Netflix, Aljon, His and Hers with John Barenthal and Tessa Thompson in the lead. And this is about two estranged spouses, one a detective and the other a news reporter. And they solve a murder in which each believes the other is a prime suspect.
Love
And
that.
this is a limited series. It's a 6-part thriller based on the book by based on a book, and is they claim it's John Barenthal's best performance of the decade.
Wow.
I would dispute that because I think John Barenthal does a great job in The Punisher. So
There you go. There you go. I do too.
yeah,
So
but His and Hers, and by the way, I love watching mysteries and murder, mysteries and things like that. And, a lot of them, are formulaic and you could kind of figure out who did it, halfway into it and stuff like that. This is not one of those. This is really well done. And there is such a twist at the end of this that comes out of left field that you didn't even see coming, but makes complete sense.
mm, I love that.
So again, I would highly recommend this. It's really well done. That's all I'm going to talk about today because there was other things I watched. I'm going to save some stuff for next week, and I'm back into the swing of it, going back to the movies and all of that. So that's what I've been watching, Aljon. What have you been watching?
Well, Dave, that is quite a list. And I'm down with that. I think my list is going to be a little bit different, as you know. But nonetheless,
my list's kind of skewed towards Paris, right? I watched a lot of French related documentaries.
I get it. I get it. No, it's all good. Well, I just happened to catch a new movie, Swapped, which is on Netflix. A tiny woodland creature and a majestic bird suddenly swap bodies, forcing them to team up to survive the wildest adventure of their lives. This right here is available on Netflix, and the voice cast is Michael B. Jordan as Ollie, Juno Temple as Ivy, Tracy Morgan, Cedric the Entertainer. They're all in this. So is it fun? Hell yeah, John Ratzenberger's in this as well. And it's just a fun body swap movie. This is kind of like Freaky Friday, and it's fun. It's about friendship and how the things that you do sets off a butterfly effect. I don't think it's heavy-handed. I think it's a fun family movie, and it does tell the animal nature format does well to tell fables and morality. It teaches that kind of stuff. The whole don't judge a book by its cover, the whole thing about friends can be in different shapes and sizes, and you can find commonality and common ground, which is, I think, something that a lot of people can learn from, and fun. So, and Michael B. Jordan and Juno and Tracy Morgan, they're fun characters. So if you're in to have a fun time with some stunning animation, great character design, in my opinion, wonderful soundtrack, everything about it is well done, check out Netflix.
And by the way, why wouldn't it be? Because the director of Swapped is Nathan Grano.
Yes.
And he was one of the directors of Tangled.
Once again, wonderful stuff.
Yes. And Nathan worked at Disney for many years. He worked on Mulan, on Brother Bear, Chicken Little, Meet the Robinsons, Bolt, The Princess and the Frog. One of the directors on Tangled. He worked on Frozen. He did some story work on Frozen. He was a creative advisor on Big Hero 6. He did some additional story work on I think Moana. So he's got a pedigree. You know what I mean?
And it shows.
Yeah.
I mean, this could have easily been a Disney movie, gang. I mean, it's really, really well done.
Yeah.
So this animal body swap adventure, buddy comedy, whatever you want to call it, is definitely worth your time, and definitely for the fam. So please check that out. I tell you what isn't for the fam, okay, is the next two movies. I'm a big fan of horror.
Yes.
And there are some really cool, timely horror movies that have just been released. One of them being it's Faces of Death. So maybe you remember Faces of Death, the mock documentary from the late 70s. It was in the back corner of every VHS rental place. You could go over there and check it out. And, as a kid, as a teenager, my whole high school friends, we were like, hey, let's go check out Faces of Death, man. It's been banned in 73 countries. It's a red band movie. Let's get this VHS and let's just rock out. Let's have a good time. So you pop in the VHS and you're just like, what am I watching? This is insane. I'm sitting there having a pizza and a Pepsi going, what in the world am I watching? And then they have the balls to do it again, but this time they wrapped it around this kind of found footage narrative. I thought they did a great job at it. They really did. It is a splatter horror film, and I think they did a really good job of paying homage and putting Easter eggs from the original film in there that kind of carved its place in horror movie history. And made it into this kind of fresh take on the whole social media slash serial killer kind of genre that's been happening there in horror for the past 5 years, which is kind of interesting. The boiler reads: a woman employed by a website content moderator comes across a series of violent videos reproducing death scenes from a film. Is it real? Is it not? I don't know, but she's going to go against the grain of her quote unquote YouTube company to try to find out. And all of a sudden it takes the form of Don't F with Cats, which is a documentary we talked about on this show a couple years ago from Netflix. She went into being a cyber sleuth, and lo and behold, she gets entangled. And there's where the issue happens. I think it's smart. It's fun. If you love that kind of splatter horror, you're definitely going to love this. It's got shades of the Silence of the Lambs, along with this weird documentary style. I think it's done really well. So check it out if you can, if you're a big fan of horror like I am. In the meantime, here's a movie, Dave, you talked about. Did you ever see that movie, They Will Kill You?
No, it was not on my list of things. We've talked about it because when it came out in the theaters, obviously, it had some box office juice. But it was the trailer that, this is all we can show you, of the movie in the trailer. It was one of those.
Look at the scroll. I'm watching this on the film.
We can't show you the most violent parts. It's crazy.
We couldn't show you the most violent parts. And isn't that the best thing you can do for a movie like this?
Yeah.
It's the best thing and the boilerplate reads as such. I'm going to take my readers off here. A woman takes a job as a housekeeper in NYC high-rise, unaware of the building's history of disappearances. Soon she realizes the community is shrouded in mystery. And it's an insane dark comedy, one person army action. It's kind of like, you were a big fan of Simu, Kill Bill.
Yes,
it's psychological, it's splatter, it got funny moments in it, but it literally has shades of Kill Bill. And I love it. I'm here for it. It's like one of those, I wouldn't say it's like a black exploitation film, but it's shot in that way.
Yeah.
It really is. It's gritty, grindhousey, and a lot of fun. And you can tell just from the trailer there, they don't take themselves too seriously. It's action-packed. And so what I got out of it was a pure romp. It's fun. It's splatterific. So go out there and check out this version of Kill Bill.
I may actually watch this because you said it's a comedy, and it's almost like the was it Zombieland, which was
it's like Zombieland.
Which was a zombie movie, but it was a comedy zombie movie.
It's a comedy zombie movie. I mean, what I'm saying, Dave, is this is utterly ridiculous in a good way. Krill Sokolov is the writer, and he is a Russian writer director, and he kind of came into their own by having films like Why Don't You Just Die and No Looking Back. So he's got a bunch of these kind of weird, kind of quirky films, and he has a sense of humor. I love that. This movie has a sense of humor, and it goes in 100%, embraces it. And so if you like unapologetic films, this is the one for you. It's violent in all the right ways, just like you like Simu, Dave.
Awesome.
What have you been watching? Please let us know. We'll check it out in a future episode.
And by the way,
yes, Dave,
by the way, this continues to be one of the more popular segments on our show because isn't it shocking how many people came up to us at Nashville? At the National Animation Y'all Expo, and said they love this this segment because the people are finding out about things that they might not otherwise have gotten a chance to watch.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it is fascinating to me that they want to hear us talk about movies. I guess we're kind of, I don't want to say we're like Siskel and Ebert, because I am not. Look, I'm a fan of films. I watch films. I'm a fan. But Dave, you are a filmmaker, so
yeah, but
you're
something.
the real.
But look, I'm not going to go into doing a deep dive review on anything I watch. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat whether this is worth seeing on a big screen or not seeing on a big screen. In fact, one of the movies I did watch coming back to the U.S. from Europe last week was Solo Mio. I didn't even mention this one with Kevin James. Kevin James from King of Queens and Mall Cop and a bunch of other stuff. Well, I like Kevin James. I think he's pretty funny.
Funny dude.
Solo Mio was a movie released to the theaters. It's a rom-com. But something, I enjoyed watching it, and it was shot in Tuscany, so it was beautiful scenery. But this was a movie you could watch on television. I wouldn't have recommended people going to the theater to pay money to see this. Watch it when it comes on a streaming service,
Well, there you go. And that's exactly what this is about. Your criteria for recommending films is the same as mine. Yeah. Do you leave with a sense of like, that was fun? Do you have the sense that you want to watch it again?
Yeah.
Was it worth your time and money to watch? I mean, those are really what it is. I mean, for me, it's all about rewatchability. Do I feel like I wasted my time? Do I want to watch it again? You know? And, well, anyway, that's good stuff, Dave. I appreciate that.
And my favorite recommendation is put this on as background noise while you're cleaning your house.
or my favorite, it's not even worth the time, not even worth the time and effort. Just, they should have just stopped. I think that was one. I think I remember, during I wish I could put together a montage. Maybe with AI, I could scrape all of our shows and just put the times that Dave's top 5 movies he did not recommend watching. And I'd love to put that and string that together. All right, gang, here we go.
Skull Rock Podcast. This week in Disney and pop culture.
Dave, can you imagine we live in a world where Michael Jackson's documentary is the #1 film?
Well, it's not a documentary; it's a docudrama.
Docudrama. Thank you.
It's a docudrama. Right.
So Michael from Lionsgate, it's definitely still kicking ass at 26.1 in its 4th weekend, and its cum is huge. I mean, it's almost 282 million globally. That's a lot for this doc. So congratulations.
It was top of the heap last weekend when it I want to say re-released, but it released in IMAX, so it broadened out into IMAX, into the IMAX screens, and that's what propelled it up onto the top of the heap. It's kind of crazy. People have a short memory of what went on with this guy.
Well, I feel like Jafar Jackson, Jermaine Jackson's son, is probably going to be like in this tribute band thing. I mean, I feel like, the music is so powerful that why doesn't he just put the band back together and just do all that stuff to tribute Michael?
Yeah, do a concert,
make a ton of money.
Do a concert tour.
Well.
They're talking about doing a second Michael movie already because this one made so much money.
Well, and they should, because it's the latter part that is kind of the most, I guess, infamous, if you will. Yeah. Because it's the fall from grace of Michael Jackson. It's really those are and I think that ultimately that led to his death. So next, Devil Wears Prada 2. Kat saw this film, and I'll be watching it later tonight because, Dave, I am going to the drive-in theater with the kids. And
drive-in theater?
Yes,
that is awesome.
We're going to a drive-in theater at Stardust in Watertown, Tennessee. It's going to be raining, but the kids, we're going to have popcorn and everything, and our lightsabers are going to be in tow. And the double features, Devil Wears Prada 2, the weekly gross, they're up 17.9 in the 3rd weekend, 175.7 million. It still continues to climb. I mean, this is a really big hit for Disney. I would say. Obsession opened for 17.2 million, newcomer with positive buzz. Mortal Kombat 2 is still hanging in there, 13.4. Kat saw this movie and she said it delivers on its promise of gore, violence, and Carl Urban.
Did Kat like The Devil Wears Prada 2?
She didn't.
She
She
didn't
said
like
it was she was basically, if you go back last week, she said it was basically there was no character growth in it, so it was basically the same film that you saw, from 20 years
it
ago.
was a retread.
It was a retread,
Wow.
complete retread.
Okay.
And it's a shame because I thought that movie had a lot of a lot going for it in terms of character building. Something that is kind of surprising, but not the Sheep Detectives. Hugh Jackman continues to be on a tear. He does great stuff. Everything he touches turns into gold. I think the families are really digging this kind of alternative programming to the summer blockbusters being kicked off. 29.9 million and climbing. Super Mario continues to hang in there too. A tremendous run, $418 million globally, Dave. And I can't wait to take the kids to see it. I still have yet to see it. And of course, there's also the Top Gun re-release, Project Hail Mary, in there as well. And of course, Mandalorian and Grogu. The returns aren't back yet from that. Maybe they are now as we record this, because they usually release the returns at 8 o'clock, just as we start recording this. What are they saying about they really haven't seen?
I think it has to have done reasonably well, because I saw it in the Cube in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and the Cube was nearly full.
Yeah, I would think that they did pretty good for themselves. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it here in the charts there at the Hollywood Reporter yet.
Okay.
But I will report on this. We do have some streaming stuff. I mean, look, Bluey is a juggernaut.
Yes.
And Bluey just notched up 889 million viewing minutes on Disney Plus for the week of April. I mean, kids are coming out of school. They're turning to Disney Plus. Bluey is a huge, huge series for Disney. So much so, Dave, did you know that Bluey is now in the parks?
I did not know that. What are they doing with Bluey?
Bluey is in Hollywood Studios now. I think there's a meet and greet, and there's a whole bunch of Disney merch to kick off, I guess, the summer of fun that Disney's doing to promote Bluey and the kids there.
How do you feel about Bluey going into the Disney parks?
I love it.
Do you?
I love it. I think that series is done so well for families, and that their stage show did really well. And I think it's a huge franchise for Disney. I just wanted them to keep on coming, because not only do my kids love it, and they loved it at every age that they've seen it now over the past 3-4 years. I mean, I guess now 5 years, Dave. I mean, how long has it been going on? But it doesn't seem to stop. So
it's crazy, isn't it?
I love it. I absolutely love it. As a parent, I love it because it's wholesome and there's so much for parents to dig in. And it really, I think, makes me want to be a better dad, honestly, because the dad's kids relationship is so playful and fun. Like, I just want to do that. I literally want to model myself after Louis' dad.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so good. And Dave, we talked about The Boys on Amazon, which is kind of like the Avengers and Justice League, perverted in every single way possible.
Yes.
This is the last season, 882 million minutes viewed on Prime. This is wrapping up this violently superhero show. So there's no end in sight for The Boys. I mean, I would think that even after this series, that there's probably life left in The Boys, in that universe. I think people want to see more from it. Also, Euphoria, Dave. Do you ever watch Euphoria?
I have not watched Euphoria.
So, this is a show that has got a lot of legs, pun intended. 668 million minutes viewed on HBO Max. It continues to serve up just awesome stuff in that show. And once again, the cast is insane. So
you're telling us minutes viewed, but I'm going to sit here and ask the question, Aljon. What's the range for something to be in X minutes to X minutes of, this is a hit show?
I mean, that's really, I think the minutes viewed as they view week over week, and you look at the chart here for the original series, you look at the minutes and millions, and this is millions of minutes viewed.
Right.
And how many episodes. They have this kind of algorithm all figured out, but it's week after week. I mean, and I would say that if you're hitting the top 10 and 300 million minutes viewed over a week, I mean, you're doing something. That is a series that, keeps people on the platform, whether it's Netflix, Amazon, HBO Max, Disney, and they're trying to drive people to that service, and then also drive ad revenue for their most basic blocks. And if you're not in the basic plan, maybe yourself, Dave, you've subscribed to like Peacock or whatever, ad free. That drives up, their costs. Like, we're going to keep these people subscribed and keep coming back because they see value in it. So, I mean, that's really what it is, right?
Let me see the top 10 acquired series that you had listed. Down. Right
top
there.
10 acquired series. There's Bluey.
Yeah.
Okay. So Disney does not make Bluey.
No, they don't.
That is from the Australian Broadcast Network.
That's
so
right.
It's ABC Australia, and they had acquired it. And look at that, 889, and it's constantly that. It's like 900 million minutes viewed per week, and it's been dominating since its release, since the pandemic, Dave.
Crazy.
I mean,
crazy.
I literally turn on Disney Plus, and there have been times I just let the show just continually run, and the kids just love it, and it really helps me make breakfast in the morning, for the family. It really does. But and there we have traditional broadcast top 10. You've got Tracker, 60 Minutes, Marshalls, American Idol still continues to do well, but it's dominated by live sports. I think that is where you see the broadcast TV medium kind of evolving into shows like American Idol and, of course, NFL and live sports. Now you stream up all the way up here for the movies. There it is right here. So this is the top movies that are streaming: Apex, Roommates, Zootopia. All right. Balls Up, Devil Wears Prada, of course. K-pop Demon Hunters continues to do well. And then you have, well, those are the charts. But anyway, that's how you break down the charts, gang. This is once again, we're going deep. This is how we see things.
But it's really, it's interesting to see how ratings are changing. And, we're going from, so many share of viewers watching a show to minutes streamed.
Absolutely. And there you see the ranking. This is, and we'll, now that I have the technology to show, what I'm seeing and sharing my screen and how we read our stories, this is it. I mean, a lot of it comes from Hollywood Reporter. I think everybody knows that. But the top grossing films as listed, and this is from May 15th through the 17th. So the returns aren't in yet for this weekend. It is a long extended weekend because they're going to be, I think, tallying the weekend grosses even into Monday, Dave. I think this is kind of one of those
I don't think we're going to know what the weekend is until midday Monday.
Well, and then here you have it. So you have Michael and Devil Wears Prada. But look at this, the Top Gun 40th anniversary re-release. Man, they made money, $3.3 million or $5 million.
This is also for last weekend, the 15th to the 17th. So
that's true.
Is there anything more current?
I think this is the most current we have so far, reported returns.
Yeah.
But, hey, look, we're going to be next year, Disney's going to be re-releasing Star Wars in theaters, Dave. I guess it's the remastered original version without any of the special edition, flourishes that Lucas put in.
Okay.
I never got your take on that. What is your take on seeing it that way? Because I'm kind of wincing a little bit because I don't know if it's going to hold up the way people expect.
Here's the thing I would say about it is that I think it's always appropriate to screen, to at least have the original version of a movie available for people. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to do variations off of that, go ahead, but at least make the original version available.
I agree with that.
And,
yes.
And that to me is just respectful of the filmmakers. Has the technology advanced substantially since they did the first Star Wars movie? Of course it has. And you could go in and digitally remaster and clean stuff up. Hell, the last time I saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I think it might have been at a 35th anniversary screening of it. possibly.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, oh, this holds up really well, but there were a couple of scenes in there where I thought, with the technology we have today, you could go in and just easily, make some adjustments on those couple of scenes, and it would just add to this movie being that great.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, as long as the original version is always available, when they asked me to oversee the Have a Laugh project, where we edited some of the classic Disney cartoons down to more interstitial size, bite-sized versions of them,
Yeah.
it was, I only would do it if they gave me their word, which they had done at the outset, that the original versions were always going to be available, you know, because
Yeah.
because my thinking was, yeah, we could do a an edited version of those classic cartoons and put them in as interstitials on the cable channels. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring in a whole new generation of viewers to appreciate these cartoons, and they can seek out watching the full version.
Dave, we've been doing this
Yeah.
show for so many years, and I didn't know that was you that did that.
Yeah. No, I worked on
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, I didn't
That
know it
was a
was you that
huge
did that.
project, and to do it properly, because we didn't have separations on the soundtrack, we actually re-recorded all of the scores for the
Oh,
shortened versions with Mark Waters, who's been a guest on this show,
yes. Yes.
and we rescored them with 28-piece orchestra, and we did them at Capitol Records, and we did them at the Clint Eastwood recording stage at Warner Brothers.
Okay,
And
so that is new information, Dave.
yeah,
So
we took a lot of care in doing those. I'll put it to you that way.
did you score the entire thing as you remastered and then edit it to a short, or
No, no.
did you just do the short?
So we did the edited version, and then Mark took the original scores and fit those scores to the edited versions,
Got it.
and did whatever little bridge music needed to be done, right,
Got it.
to make it work properly. And we had to do that because we only had a music track. We didn't have the separations of those music tracks,
Yes.
and if you
Yeah.
only have one single music track, you can't really go in and do edits like that, so
Wow.
we had to, we and it was, look, to Disney's credit, they were willing to spend the money to do it the right way.
Yes.
I don't know if they would do that today, but back then they actually, had the sense enough to spend the money, because it wasn't cheap to rescore those, but
No,
it was
no.
the right way to do it.
That is awesome,
Yeah.
Dave. That is really awesome, and
And
that's
by the
great.
way, because of that project, I made the Tunes Behind the Tunes documentary,
Yes.
and now I have the Tunes Behind the Tunes show on Sirius XM.
Well, I do know that.
So that's crazy, isn't it? I mean, how
I
that
mean,
all worked out.
it's really cool how that kind of came full
Yeah.
circle,
Yeah,
Dave.
yeah.
And I'm still waiting for Tunes Behind the Tunes to be on Disney Plus.
Hey, you know what? All I would say is tell people to, tell our listeners to write into Disney Plus. I think there's actually a button somewhere to make suggestions, right?
There is a
Yeah.
button. So go make
It
that
probably,
suggestion.
you know what? It's probably like the slot on the Viking cruise ship when you fill out your evaluation. I handed it over to the guy. He goes, "Oh, let me drop it into the shredder," and it was a slot at the end of this counter, and he drops it.
That's right. That's right. I used to call it the X file, because so Dave, back in my radio days, it's hilarious. Bands would submit, because I was the local music director too. So I was the assistant music director, but I was also the local music director. So I had a show that was like 3 hours every Sunday night, and I would play local rock bands that would make their submissions. And I did that for years. Like, for as long as I was on radio, that's what I did.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd call it the X file, and there would be bands that just submit their press kit or their ADAT tapes, and I'd be like, this is not good. And I would spend time, going in and listening to these digital recordings and tapes and CDs. And I'd just be like, that goes in the X file. Unfortunately, it's not going to make it to air. and that was a huge bin of just discarded, dreams of bands.
The
Unfortunately,
round file, as we used to
round
call
file.
it.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It never would make it because it just wasn't good enough to play on FM radio. All right, gang, boy, that was. You see, talk about a deep dive, Dave. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, so here we go, Dave.
Skull Rock Podcast.
You know, you're like that little arrow on your hat, straight and shining, and that's the way I'll always remember you.
I'll always remember you. I'll always remember you.
I'll always remember you, Sharon.
They hang you, I'll always remember you.
In memoriam.
All right. So, Dave, here we are once again with, as we used to call it, the roll call.
The obituary roll call.
The obituary roll call, right? This is a headline from Hollywood reporter Peter Helm, actor inside the Daisy, Clover, and the Andromeda Strain, dies at the age of 84. He appeared on Broadway with Jane Fonda and Joey Heathron on the Busy on TV in 1960s, and with Wagon Train and the Donna Reed Show and The Fugitive. And there's a photo of him right there, Dave.
Yeah, he's one of those individuals who, he was sort of played an everyman type of character almost,
Yeah, absolutely.
And was in a lot of stuff until he decided to step behind the camera.
Yeah, and he died Thursday in his sleep in his home in West Hills. His friend David Timmerman told the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, that's very, very sad. But you know what? Once again,
he had a good life.
84. He had a good run. Run.
Still 84 is kind of young, but okay.
Yeah, there you go. DJ Rob Bass, It Takes Two to Make a Thing Go Right, Dave. I mean, this was kind of like hip hop legendary legend. And can you believe he was 59?
It was very sad. This
my
is
goodness,
too young.
I can't believe it. This comes to us from MSN, but DJ Rob Bass passing away at the age of 59. And why isn't the photo coming up? It's just so, you try to do these things. Oh, there he is. Rob Bass.
Yeah.
He
had a long battle with cancer.
Oh, so sad.
Yeah.
So sad indeed. Dave, in sports news, and you mentioned this, it's really sad when people pass away of something that is completely something that they could have avoided. Pop culture celebrates the life of Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch, unfortunately, had passed away young at the age of 41.
This was a total shock. The guy was 41 years old. He's at the top of his NASCAR career. He's one of the legends of NASCAR. And I was blown away when this came across the wire. I have to say, though, this was completely preventable. He had pneumonia that turned into sepsis. He didn't go to the doctor. He had a terrible cough that was nagging him for weeks. He started coughing up blood. He went to the hospital. The pneumonia was so far gone, and it turned into sepsis. They couldn't save him. And I just think it's so shocking, folks. When you're not feeling well, when you have a cough, don't fool around with this stuff. Go see a doctor. Go to urgent care. Aljon, I've had pneumonia twice. And both times I picked it up on long haul flights. And when I got home and I had this nagging cough, I went right to the doctor. They took a chest x-ray. They said, you're getting some fluid in your lungs. You've got pneumonia. And they right away put me on antibiotic IV. And the second time I got it, it was like 2 bags of antibiotics were pumped into my body to knock it out. It's not something you should fool around with or say, I'll feel better tomorrow. Go to the doctor and take care of yourself.
Well, and there's a reason why, you protect yourself on those flights.
You do.
You got to.
Yeah. I pop on a mask when I get on board these flights until the whole thing is loaded, and people are in their seats. And then I generally take it off so that I can eat and things like that. But, and then I put it back on when I'm exiting the plane. I mean,
you never know what you're running into.
And this whole Ebola thing that's going on in the Congo and Uganda, this is turning into one of the biggest outbreaks of Ebola that's happened in decades. And people are slipping through, onto flights and going. I mean, it's crazy. They had a flight divert to Canada because the U.S. wasn't going to let it land because there was somebody on board who was in the Congo. I mean, This is crazy stuff.
Absolutely. You can't control that. But what you can control is when something doesn't feel right, you need to go take care of yourself.
That's right. I mean, we're talking, this is like 7 Monkeys kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
if
for
you
sure.
remember that movie.
Of course. Of course. Well, I mean, these are the things that happen, and I think, people like you and I, we tend to be pretty arduous in terms of keeping ourselves clean and washing our hands and making sure that we have a hand sanitizer, because I'm paranoid about that stuff. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
But you just have to take extra precautions, especially when you travel. And I know that I did too. There's a special regimen that I follow when I do these things where I'm at conventions and I'm with people and there's a lot of people. And of course, when you're in a metal tube like an airplane and you're there for 14 hours straight, doing a transatlantic flight, you're going to be breathing the same air as these people all the time, and you just never know.
Yeah.
So better be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't cost you anything.
That's right.
Unfortunately for Kyle Busch, it cost him his life.
Yeah.
That's a shame at the age of 41, a family man. Too bad. Really shame.
Yeah.
So not last but not least, but Claudine Longuet, French singer, actress known for her music career, notable. And of course, there was a notable legal case in here as well, with her death. Very, very strange circumstances around that. Here she is right here. Passes away at the age of 84.
And that's a familiar face,
Yeah. Did I pronounce the name right? Longuet? French?
Longuet.
Exactly.
Longuet.
Longuet. Dave, I may have mentioned this last week. I can't recall, but Clarence Carter, blues artist.
Yeah.
And, passed away at the age of 90. A lot of people may not know the name, but they know the song. And I'm surprised you don't know this. And every time I play music on this podcast, we get pinged for copyright. So I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But the song Strokin'. I stroke it to the east, I stroke it to the west, I stroke it to the woman that I love best, I'm stroking. It's the craziest song. And yes, now you have me saying it on air, on YouTube. And so there it is. It's probably one of the most perennial. The only time I ever hear this song nowadays is at a wedding.
Yeah.
Because they always play it. They're doing the electric slide to it. But yes, Clarence now has earned his wings at the age of 90.
Wow.
And there you have it there. I mean, once again, who knew that he would have such a career in the wedding industry?
There you go.
For that. But there you have it. And so there it is. He's been blind since infancy and really was a blues man in the tradition of Blind Willie Johnson and Blind Lemon Jefferson. And he made his first U.S. R&B chart hit 1967 with Tell Daddy, which was a famous response record from Etta James.
Yeah.
So, man, what a career. Clarence Carter.
Something else.
It is something else for sure.
Let's get out of here!
Come on, Scotty, let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here, Lieutenant.
Dave, it's been a great show. Thank you for catching us all up on what your adventures have been, Dave.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we had a chance to just take a breath and to just chat a little bit. I'm back in the saddle. I'll be here for a while now before my next trip. I will, however, say that in 2 weeks I will be doing the show from Los Angeles. So I am ever on the move. It just is what it is.
Hey, all good.
But it was great catching up with everybody. And again, we'd love to hear more from our listeners. If you have some recommendations or you got questions, please send them in. Definitely would love to hear from people as to whether you'd like us to do a live stream at some point. because that's something we haven't done before, and we could certainly do it. And basically we talk about anything, so.
Yeah, well, we have the ability to do it on YouTube, and we can push it to Facebook and all those other groups and things. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'd love to hear that as well. And as Dave is in LA, I will also be at Walt Disney World. Dave, this is breaking news. I'll be at Walt Disney World with a fam.
What?
We're going to be checking out
a second time.
We're going again.
My God.
We're going to take the kids out for summer break, and Disney, the mouse, is going to be taking my money again as we check out Soarin' 250 for the 250th anniversary of our great nation.
Oh, great.
So we're going to be checking that out, and we'll be also checking out the new Mandalorian and Grogu there at Smuggler's Run at Star Wars Land over at Galaxy's Edge. So some new stuff for us to check out for sure, and I'll be reporting on that. So, gang, thank you so much. Once again, if you love Disney and pop culture, subscribe to the show everywhere. Video podcast on Spotify, video podcast on YouTube, and everywhere else you can get your audio podcast, we're there. So please give us a like and subscribe. Follow us on all our socials. Links are in our show notes. And be sure to visit our website. It'll be directed to our Spotify from now on at skullrockpodcast.com, so you can check out our entire archive of shows and interviews as we document the careers of all these great storytellers, animators, as well as Imagineers. It's a lot of fun there at skullrockpodcast.com. Send us those emails as well, Dave or Aljon at skullrockpodcast.com. You can follow me, Aljon Go. I'm on X, Instagram as well, and Aljon Rocks. And, just also check that out as well. I'm everywhere talking about saving your pets and adoptions and Star Wars. That's what I talk about.
Awesome.
Dave, how about you?
Well, as always, Aljon, people can listen to my Tunes Behind the Tunes show on SiriusXM Disney Hits Channel 133 during the month of May. I'm putting the spotlight on Out There, believe it or not, Out There, from the 1996 hit film The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
How apropos.
I know how apropos it was that would be dropping during the month of May while I was actually in Paris.
How about that?
I actually was in my Paris hotel room reviewing this episode before it dropped on SiriusXM. So there you have it. But check out my show, The Tunes Behind the Tunes, on SiriusXM Disney Hits Channel 133. It drops randomly throughout the month. And I'd love to hear from you. If you hear it, let me know what you think of it. Also, you can go to the oldmillpress.com. Now, apparently the website was down for a little bit while I was out in Europe. I only found out about this from somebody who was wanting to buy a book. The oldmillpress.com. You can also get author-signed copies of the newly released The Art of John Canemaker, An Animator's Garden by John Canemaker, and A Spoonful of Sugar, The Story of the Upjohn Pharmacy in Disneyland by Stephen Hall. That's right, Drugs at Disneyland by Stephen Hall. And I got to tell you about I just really want to mention this really quickly. I know we're going to wrap up, but The Art of John Canemaker, The Animator's Garden, he did all these paintings at his garden in Bridgehampton, Long Island, right? He and his husband, Joe, had a place out there for many, many years. And out of all those paintings, he wound up making a short film called Bridgehampton, which is detailed in the book, right? So you can see the progression of all these paintings he did throughout the different seasons, and then how that turned into a short animated film called Bridgehampton. Well, guess what happened over the last couple weeks? A 15-second clip of Bridgehampton's, the animated short that John Canemaker made, is playing on big screens at Grand Central Station in Manhattan.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So if you happen to be going through Grand Central Station, take a gander at the big screens and you'll see a portion of John Canemaker's Bridgehampton film playing up there. And then finally, Aljon, you can always go to davidbossert.com. There's all kinds of free content. There's free stuff you can send away for. You can check out any of my books. There's links to where you can buy those. You can get, signed book plates, all of that stuff, all at davidbossert.com. With that, Aljon, I'm going to say once again, because it's been several weeks now, 3 weeks since I have been able to say it, go out and have a fantastic shortened holiday week, right? I mean, if you're working, It's only Tuesday through Friday now. So go out and have a fantastic week, and we'll see you back here next Monday right here on the Skull Rock Podcast. And I'm going to add to that we're going to be kicking off a fantastic interview with independent animator Bill Plimpton. So I'm looking forward to that. So we'll see you all next Monday right here on the Skull Rock Podcast.